Let's get into the predicted lineup. Ange has been speaking in the press conference. What is the injury news coming into this game?
Yeah, so really positive news on Pedro Porro. He is trained this week and he's back and available. So hopefully he'll be playing on the weekend. Richarlison is still not training with the squad and he remains unavailable. And he said the remaining long-term absentees, Solomon, Seston and Forster, still have rehab, still undergoing rehab. So all unavailable for this weekend. But really positive news on Pedro Porro.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a massive plus coming into this weekend, especially his just ability on the ball is just like 10 times what it is for Emerson Royale, albeit Emerson did have a really good game last time out against Crystal Palace, but we're gonna need different sets of tools this weekend against Aston Villa. But let's look at the lineup. 4-3-3 as per usual. In goal is going to be a Vicario.
Yeah, and with Villa's the way they like to play, they want to get Watkins involved. They're going to get him in behind. I do hope that Vicario's on his bike of this one, sweeping, making sure Watkins isn't getting too involved. I do expect quite a busy day for Vicario, knowing how many chances we tend to concede. So if he is basically able to stop more shots than Emi Martinez, that can go a long way to deciding who wins this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And two of the leading goalkeepers, again, as much as we spoke about the strikers, it's two of the leading goalkeepers in the Premier League going head-to-head this weekend as well. Right back, like we mentioned, Pedro Porro will be there. And, his ability on the ball is going to be so valuable for us.
Yeah, absolutely delighted to have him back, and I think it's such an important game for him to return to as well. I think his ball playing ability could prove really, really vital in this game, considering how Villa like to squeeze the pitch a lot. So having a player who's able to play in those tight spaces a bit more than Emerson, it's going to be really, really positive. But he's got to make sure that defensively he's not getting caught out, and I'm sure he will, because I think he's improved a lot defensively this season.
Right centre-back, Cuti Romero is going to have to watch himself after that death stare he gave Matty Cash at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium earlier on in this season. And is that a worry for you?
Maybe. There's remains to be seen where the Cash definitely starts. Also, you remember the game back at back at the Tottenham Stadium in October. Although we lost 2-1 and Watkins gave us a really tough time in that game, we didn't have Romero or Van de Ven in that game. We've got to remember Emerson and Ben Davies were both playing. So it'll be interesting to see how Romero and Van de Ven get on with Watkins, as opposed to Davis or Emerson, who Watkins fancied his chances of really bullying. So Romero's got to make sure there ain't no bullying happening on Sunday.
Yeah, and you mentioned in the preview how important it is to stop those passing lanes to Ollie Watkins, and Romero's going to be vital to that, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Next up, Mickey Van de Ven, left centre-back. And I spoke about Romero being vital, stepping in to block those passing lanes. Van de Ven is going to be vital in those recovery runs when they're trying to play Ollie Watkins in behind. Yeah,
because I actually look at Villa and, their ability to find Watkins in behind is absolutely phenomenal. They tend to find him in behind so often. And even the goal I saw against Luton on the weekend, just a very quick pass from Douglas Luiz, a quick free kick, and there you go. So Van de Ven's going to be absolutely crucial watching where Watkins is running to, and making sure he doesn't run in behind because he's such a threat. And if anyone can stop him, then I think Van de Ven definitely can.
Absolutely. Who's having a better season, Van de Ven or Romero?
I think you have to say Van de Ven, just because Van de Ven hasn't had really a bad game, and Romero did get sent off in one of the games, didn't he? So I think performance level, in a weird way, when they are good, probably Romero, but as a consistently stable performer, probably Van de Ven.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Let us know in the comment section below. Who do you think is having a better season, Van de Ven or Cuti? Left back, Destiny Udogie is obviously going to start in that game. And again, I don't think he's been performing at his best over the last couple of weeks, but still a consistent performer.
Yeah, but I think if he can, we've seen him up against Salah, we saw him up against Saka earlier in the season, and he was really up to the challenge. And if he can go a long way to keeping Leon Bailey quiet in this game, that goes a long way to keeping Aston Villa quiet as well. I know, he's not their only threat, but I see Leon Bailey, and the amount of times they just feed the ball to him and he's able to do a trick and get free down that right hand side, and it forces opportunities. He's a really big attacking threat for Aston Villa this season. He's been exceptional. I think it's like 6 goals and 6 assists or something. He's like getting a lot of goal contributions. So if Udogie can have him on lockdown, that can really help stop Aston Villa springing on us in the transition, and it can help maybe sustain attacks against them because he's been so good in the transitions for them.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Udogie against these top wingers, and yeah, you're right. He's stood up to the challenge every time, but there has been moments maybe at the start of games in the first 10, 20 minutes where he has come under massive pressure, and then he's kind of overcome those and then grown into the game. And with Villa maybe coming out the traps really fast, that's something Udogie has to watch out for massively.
Yeah, let's just hope early on he doesn't get overruled by the occasion.
Yeah. So that is the back line. Let's move into the midfield. And in the number 6, we're going to go for Yves Bissouma, who had a massive uptick in form in the last game. I thought it was his best performance probably since those first 10 games of the season. And we're going to need that and then some probably this weekend.
Yeah, he was another player who was missing the game at the Tottenham Stadium earlier in the season. Obviously, Bentancur actually came into the team, played the 6th and was actually brilliant in those first 20 minutes. Then he went off injured. But hopefully Bissouma can really be confident in this game, because that midfield is so aggressive from Aston Villa. You got Louise, McGinn, no Kamara, but probably Tielemans potentially as well. So they have players who really like to get stuck in, always aggressive, always really intense. And so Bissouma's going to have a big job. If we're going to be able to play through them, then it's a lot of it is going to be on Bissouma to make sure he's not losing the ball in any silly situations, he's not turning the ball over, and he's able to progress the ball forward without giving it away. So he's got a crucial role to play here.
Are you worried a bit about Bissouma? Because we've seen sometimes this season when he does come up against potentially aggressive midfields that he can also give it back, get sent off, pick up these needless bookings. I mean, he's got previous to that.
Yeah, I guess. And he hasn't been in the best form. So I'm not saying I'm worried about him, but I think it is a bit of a concern that he hasn't returned to his best form yet, but hopefully this can mark the turn of it.
Let's hope so. In the number 8 position, we're going to side with Rodrigo Bentancur. Pape Sarr, as Ange said, is still nursing that back injury, so we expect Rodrigo Bentancur to start this game. And what a story it would be for him after getting injured against Aston Villa and coming back and putting his best performance since then.
Yeah, obviously he did start last game, did go off after, I think, an hour, looked quite disappointed with his performance to give away the free kick, which
smashing
led to...
the boot on the floor, wasn't he?
Yeah, and that was following giving away that free kick, which led to Palace's opener. But the reason we are siding with Bentancur is because these are Ange's quotes and Sarr on his... on potentially this back issue. He said he's been dealing with it. It's getting better, but it's not totally free. So it's something we're working on with him. It doesn't stop him training, but it does restrict him. From what I understand, he'll be fine. So I think he's saying, long term he is going to be fine, but for the time being, it's something he's still dealing with. It sounds like he's going to be available, but maybe not available to start. Maybe it's better to have him on the bench for this one. So I think Bentancur will continue, and let's really hope that this form starts to turn for him. I do think it was a general improvement against Palace, but obviously you saw himself, he was still very, very disappointed. So hopefully a really good opportunity to turn his form around.
And then to make up that midfield 3, it's obviously going to be James Maddison, who I thought was brilliant in the game last weekend against Palace, and I still think there's a lot more to come from James.
Yeah, and he's going to be crucial because that link up with Sonny is going to be so important in this game. Another player as well who didn't play the game against Villa last time out, who could be really crucial. I remember Lo Celso, I think he scored, didn't he? And he was played quite a good game. But I'm just imagining if Maddison can kind of get any sort of foothold in the game and he is allowed to kind of start to dictate it, it's going to be very hard for Villa to deal with him. So I think he could be the difference in terms of having that bit of magic or getting snuffed out.
On the right wing, we are going to look at Dejan Kulusevski. There is a case for Brennan Johnson this weekend. I think Ange has been speaking about that situation in his press conference as well. But Brennan came on, did a really good job last week. Kulusevski, had an all right game in his own right as well. But we are siding with Decky.
Yeah, he was talking about Brennan and whether Brennan is giving him difficult decisions to make. He said, I don't know about difficult decisions, they're easy decisions. The good thing about Brennan is he's contributing overall his year. This year we've seen him grow in playing in a different way. They're all in there in front of me with the opportunity to start or not to start. So he seems happy with Brennan. The reason I think we're siding with Kulu is just because if we had a front three, which we're intending, of just speedsters with no one who's able to get the ball into feet and hold on to it, especially against a very aggressive Villa side who we know every opportunity are going to be trying to nick the ball back and trying to transition us. I think if we had a front three of players who are just fast in behind and not looking to control the ball, we're at risk of the ball just keeping coming back to us and no ability to get a foothold and control the game. I think Kulusevski allows us that element of giving the ball, having an outlet to actually hold on to the ball and bring other players into the game. So I think Kulusevski has to start. And look, if it does go wrong, he could always put him back in the centre and bring Brennan on. I'm sure the plan will be to bring Brennan on in the second half anyway. But I think at the start, we'll go with Kulusevski.
And then obviously in the number 9 position, we will be going for Heung-min Son, who does give this team that X factor. Absolutely one of the most, if not the most clinical strikers in the Premier League at this current moment in time. And when a chance falls to him, you just know where it's going.
Yeah, and it's going to be crucial. Obviously, in the game earlier in the season, he had a hat-trick of offside goals, 3 great finishes, but all unfortunately offside. And let's hope in this game, the timing of the runs, I would say more the timing of the passes to him can be that little bit sharper. And we have players like Maddison in there. I'm sure it will be. So I think he's absolutely crucial. He's the key in this game if we're going to be able to get the chances against this Villa side who do like to play a bit of a high line. And I think he was really great in the number 9 last week, and let's hope he improves on that in this one. So really, really important game for Sonny.
And finally, to make up the final 11 on the left-hand side, Mano Solomon out injured, so it has to be Timo Werner on that left wing. Probably his best game in a Spurs shirt last time out against Crystal Palace. Got his first goal as well, so it's time to build on that.
Yeah, no, it was a positive display. Obviously, did get his goal and was unlucky not to get an assist as well. If they played Konsa right back, I do worry how much joy he will get in terms of taking him on and be able to beat him. But let's hope he can continue in the form he showed on last week. And as well, when we're hitting them in transition, he can be very, very crucial with his pace. So hopefully another positive performance for Werner.
All right, well, let's run through that lineup with you guys one more time. In goal is going to be Vicario, right back Pedro Porro, left back Destiny Udogie, Cuti Romero and Mickey van der Ven as the centre-back pairing, Bissouma in the 6, Bentancur and Maddison in the 6 and the 8s and the 10s, Werner on the left, Kulusevski on the right with Heung-min Son, our captain, up top. Sim has gone for 2-1 to Spurs. I have gone for 3-2 to Spurs. Let's get those 3 points this weekend. Let's give that revenge to Aston Villa that they fully deserve from the last time out at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Sim will be up at Villa Park on the weekend cheering the boys on, and you'll have Barnaby and Amir in the studio with you for the watch along. So come and join in and tune in to the boys in the studio. Amir does have a fairly poor record, though, in watch-alongs. Let's hope he can overturn that this weekend. We lose this,
he's his last watch-along. It's his last one.
But yeah, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. That is your match preview live stream. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.